is the mentorship program. We have our mentors around, so we are about to start. We'll call upon the school chaplain to give us the opening prayer if he's around. Thank you.
Shall we be outstanding, please? We are praying. Our gracious and everlasting God, we want to thank you for the gift of life. We want to thank you for our school, Mfantsipim School. We want to thank you, O God, for all the stakeholders. Lord, we bless your holy name for such a beautiful day. 150 years of secondary education. Mfantsipim School had been an epitome of your glory. As part of the celebration, so God, today we want to embark on this mentorship program. We pray, let your spirit come and take absolute control over this event. We pray in committing, oh God, our facilitators onto your care. The enablement and the wisdom from above, we pray that you impound it onto their lives. May we listen to them and that we make some informed decisions that will go a very long way, oh God, to make the lives of these young ones so beautiful in the future. We are trusting that your peace will be with us. We ask this in the name of God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Alex Odum. At this moment, we want to call upon anybody from the school administration to welcome us. Thank you.
The Busia Penny of Moba and the distinguished personalities here gathered this morning, cherished colleagues, beloved students, and friends of Mfantsipim who are here this morning. I welcome all of you to this gathering. Today we gather under the banner of 150th anniversary celebrations, not only to honor our rich heritage, but also to invest in the future of our dear boys, the future leaders of Ghana and beyond. This gathering is more than a program for me. I think it is a bridge between aspiration and achievement, between youthful dreams and seasoned wisdom. As our students listen to the voices of men who have walked diverse paths of excellence, may they be inspired to chart their own journeys with courage, integrity, and faith. To our dear professionals who are here, I thank you for your preparedness to lend your time and your guidance. Your presence here is a gift that will echo in the lives of these young men for years to come. To you, my dear students, I say, open your hearts, sharpen your minds, and seize this opportunity. Let every word you hear today be a seed planted in a fertile soil, destined to bear fruit in your future endeavors. As we celebrate 150 years of shaping character and destiny, let this gathering remind us that education is not only about knowledge, but about vision, vocation, and service. May God bless this gathering and may it ignite in each of us a renewed commitment to excellence. With these few words, I warmly welcome you and declare that this gathering will be very fruitful. Once again, on behalf of the entire school community, I welcome all of you to this gathering and pray that the good Lord will see us through to a very successful end. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Headmaster. Before we start with the presentation, can we all rise and sing just the first anthem of the school hymn? Just the first standard of the school hymn. Thank you. Let's all rise. For the saints, sing. For who thee by faith be, for the word confess thy name, O Jesus, be forever blessed. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are starting the presentation section by our mentors. My name is Kobina Udum Akwa, MOBA 96. I'm your MC for the occasion. Thank you. We are starting first with teaching stroke academia. And the one to lead us is also a MOBA 96, Pickard Packer House. He did general science, biology, BSc, MSc, PhD, and now a lecturer or lecturing. He is an associate professor of entomology at the University of Cape Coast. And he's the person of Professor John Abraham, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to share my experience. Mfantsipim, Headmaster, I crave your indulgence to speak to the boys. I'm going to speak about teaching and academia. I'm introduced as an associate professor, and I'm wondering if you know what, by the day, an associate professor does. Do you know? So, a professor in the university has 3 core duties. One is to teach, the other is to do research, and then lastly, do community service. So what I am doing now forms part of community service, to speak about my experience and to inspire young ones, among others. My other community service that I perform is that I serve the Entomological Society of Ghana as the president, and also serve the School of Biological Sciences at UCC as the coordinator for practical biology. Before you can teach at any level, you should know your staff before you teach. So I started from Mfantsipim. During my time, if you're a general science student, you have an option to do physics, chemistry, and biology, or physics, chemistry, and mathematics. I chose to do the biology option. And so I did my physics, chemistry, biology here, and that gave me the basis to continue in the university. I attended KNUST, where I had my bachelor's degree in natural resources management, which is also biology-based. So from biology in Mfantsipim to a biology-based program in KNUST. Now, after first degree, everybody wants to progress. So in order to get my knowledge, the content to be able to teach in a university, I needed postgraduate education. And for postgraduate education, I didn't want my parents to pay for it. So I was going to look for scholarship. First year of applying for scholarship, I was so naive. I thought that, oh, you just apply for school and then you are given and then you go. So I didn't apply for any scholarship. I just applied to several schools in the UK. I got admission all right, but how to fund it? So I realized that I've made a mistake. So if you intend to study on scholarship, one lesson is that apply for the appropriate sponsorship if your parents are not going to pay for it. Second time, I applied, and this time I knew I have to apply for scholarship. Several schools, I was nominated for a scholarship, but in the end, I was not selected. Third time, I applied again to several scholarships. This time, I got 2 admissions with 2 scholarships. Every time I was getting admission, but funding. This time I got 2 scholarships. Now it became a problem of choice. Which one to go? I chose to study in Germany. So the lesson here is that you have to be persistent. If you fail at one time, you don't have to say, I failed, so I'm not going to try again. So persist, persevere, and then be consistent in what you want to do. Now, getting admission into Germany, I went to study a master's in forest sciences and forest ecology, also in the line of biology. And so all my life I've been doing biology. But then I said, how can I be useful in agriculture and in forestry? Remember, I did a first degree in natural resources management, and in natural resources management, I majored in silviculture and forest management, where you manage plants, and then among management of plants, you have to protect them from insect damage. So during my postgraduate studies, I also ventured into forest sciences and forest entomology, forest sciences and forest ecology, still pushing the agenda of entomology. Then from that, I did my PhD. I mean, once I've done a master's degree, the PhD was very smooth. I was literally offered a scholarship on a platter. So I did that. In postgraduate studies, you do research, and that is also one of my core business as an associate professor. So you do impactful research that would solve real problems. And so my background as a forester, you know, for timber, forestry, the major thing is to produce timber. And in producing timber, you want a tree that grows straight and not bending. But there are insects that feed and cause the tree to bend. So as a researcher, how do I research to know how to make the tree straight? That's what I did. So there's an insect called Hypspilla robusta that feed on this, and when it feeds, it causes the branch. It causes the branching of the tree. Now with my research, we are able to know what kind of attractant is making the insect come to the mahogany trees, and then we use that same chemical to distract it. Mind you, in my PhD, I majored in the area of entomology called chemical ecology. That is using chemicals released by the plant to protect the plant. So we are not spraying insecticides. We want to use the plant to protect itself. So I have done research on also fall armyworm. You know, fall armyworm, it attacks maize. So how to solve this problem of insect attacking maize. And then also on fruit flies. Now, how do you become an academic in the university? Now you have your bachelor's degree, you have your master's degree, and you have your PhD. Now to teach in the university, you don't just get up and become a professor. You have to start. The entry level is that you have to apply to be a lecturer. And then you work for some time, and a lecturer, your job is to teach students and also conduct research with them. From lecturer, you have to move on to become a senior lecturer. And then from a senior lecturer, you move on to become an associate professor. And from associate professor, you get to professor. That is the end. So I still have one more step to go. I'm now an associate professor. I have to become a professor. Now, to be impactful in the university, apart from transferring knowledge to your student and conducting research with them that are impactful, that are solving real-life problems, in university management, if you are in the professorial rank, that is where you can also help in the management of the university. That is where you become a head of department, a dean, a provost, or even the vice chancellor itself. So if you want to progress in the management in the university, wherever you find yourself, you have to rise to be in the professorial rank. Nowadays, principals in colleges for education, you need to be an associate professor. So I implore you that if you intend to be in the teaching field or in the research field, academia is teaching and research. If you intend to be in the academia or teaching field, you have to aspire to get the highest degree. When you get the highest degree, that is where you have prepared yourself enough with the requisite knowledge to be able to impact, to train others. Now I am training other PhD students to become like me or to surpass me. Every teacher wants his students to be better than them. So one of my PhD, Director of Plant Protection, Ministry of Agriculture, is the Deputy Director. So you have to be impactful. Great. So I understand there will be a breakout session where you can ask all your questions about teaching and doing research. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor John Abraham Mbuba, 96. Next, a public servant and a security services. He was in Pickard Parker House, Mbuba, 96. He did technical with electrical option, BSc Computer Science, MSc Defense and International Politics, a military officer, a director, plans, research, and development. He's the person of Colonel Mark Kobina Egan.
Headmaster, colleagues, I don't think I will introduce myself more, but I'm Kendall McKeegan. Take it like that. And I was saying something to my colleagues that how I'd wished that when I was here some time back, we had such a program, at least something to tell us what to expect in the world. We didn't have any of these. No, we didn't. So it's a privilege to find yourself here and to be listening to what we are saying. At least, if nothing at all, beyond the walls of Mfantsipim, you know what happens, okay? So take it serious. And by the way I'm dressed, you know where I'm coming from. I have 7 minutes and I'll finish in 5 minutes. So the Ghana Armed Forces, I'm actually speaking on public service and the security services, but I'm going to focus on the Ghana Armed Forces. Why? Because the processes of joining the Ghana Armed Forces, it's similar to the other security services. So I'll focus on where I am coming from. The Ghana Armed Forces is the only military institution, professional military institution, that defends the territorial integrity of Ghana and also contributes to regional and international peacekeeping. And the armed forces need you, and it needs me. When I was introduced that I did technical, electrical, someone said, ease. The armed forces is the only institution in the country that needs everybody. I dare say we need associate professors. We do. We need doctors. We do. We need teachers. We need everybody. So regardless of the subject area that you are doing now, you have a chance to join the armed forces, okay? And the pathway to join the armed forces, the first, we have your pathway of choosing the service you want to join. In the Ghana Armed Forces, we have 3 services. We have the Army, which is the land forces. We have the Navy, that is the maritime forces. And then we have the Air Force, that defends our airspace. So before you want to make any decision, you have to decide, do I want to be an army officer? Do I want to be a naval officer? Or do I want to be an air officer? Now, after that decision, now, within the services, we have 2 pathways. Either you will join as a regular recruit, or you will join as an officer. So the regular recruit, your minimum academic qualification will be, currently you are doing WASI, right? So SSCE, WASI, secondary school, that will be your minimum educational qualification. Of course, there is room for those who have trades. So if you're a tradesman, you can join. That is the regular recruitment. And with the regular recruitment, you will be required to do a mandatory 6 months basic military training, from which you'll be enlisted as a private soldier, a seaman, or an aircraftman, depending on the service that you choose to join. Then from there, you can progress through the ranks to general. Equally with the officers' commission, also your minimum will be an HND or a degree. Then you can qualify for officer commission. You will be required to do 2 years mandatory military training at the military academy. After the training, you may be commissioned as a second lieutenant or a captain, depending on the profession that you enter with. So if you come in with medicine, if you're a doctor, you may commission as a captain. If you are a lawyer, you may commission as a captain. If you are an engineer, say architect, you may commission as a captain. The reason being that these courses, you spend a lot of time in school. So whilst I would have run regular degree, with my 4 years regular degree, I would have entered, you would have done extra years. So to make for the balance, those professions get commissioned as captains, but otherwise, we all commission as second lieutenants or lieutenants. So if you commission in the officer rank, there also you have opportunities to go through the rank to become a general. Now, how do you qualify? After you have decided which service to join, you have decided which kind of recruitment, whether you be enlisted or you be a regular recruit, how do you qualify? Education. Okay, let me start with nationality. First, you must be a Ghanaian. And you must be between the ages of 18 and 28. The age, we waiver the age depending on the operational exigency. So if, assuming we are in war, right, age will not actually matter, or we just need men to fight. So If you go to Ukraine today, a lot of young men are running away from town. Senior, you just want to walk around town, you will just rolled into the service. Before you wake up, you are at the front line. So when we are in more, age will waver. And also sometimes, depending on what you have to offer, age can be wavered. Education. As I've said, with both, whether you are coming as a soldier or you are coming as an officer, the minimum will be your secondary school. And we are very critical about the secondary school and your junior high school. So we've had a lot of people who apply, but they are disqualified because the portal will not even let you continue because you failed your junior high or you failed your secondary school. And then say, but I have a degree. We don't care whether you have a degree. So whatever you do now matters, okay? The secondary school, anything less than C6 would not make you qualify. You understand? I have seen people, they are doctors, how they manage, I don't know, but they were disqualified. I have seen preachers, what do you call it, priests. Come, I have a degree in this, that, but we go back to your secondary school and then it is something else. No, we always go back to your basics. So try, okay? Now that you have the opportunity, try and make the grades. Then, physical fitness. So I've talked about the fact that you have to be a Ghanaian aged between 18 to 28. I've talked about the fact that you have to pass your exams. Nothing below C6. Get better, but for us, we will consider C6 just to make the base wide for everybody to join. You must be physically fit. So if you have any physical condition, if you are disabled, you may not be able to join the Ghana Armed Forces because you must be physically fit. The training is that demanding, and you can die in training. So we will not want you to die. So you must be physically fit and you must be medically right. Medically right. It's part of the processes that you go through before you join the Ghana Armed Forces. You take a medical examination and you must pass that medical examination. Character. Character matters. Whatever you do now, here and now, matters. In the physical sense and in the virtual sense. So how you are behaving here will count whether you will be considered to join the Ghana Armed Forces or not. How you behaved when you were in JSS will count whether you join the Ghana Armed Forces or not. And how you behave at home counts whether you join the Ghana Armed Forces or not. Because we are looking for people without criminal records. If you have any criminal record, you will not join. And people who are disciplined. If you are not disciplined, you will not join. I remember when I was about to join, I was asked to produce 3 character reference. And specifically, somebody from your secondary school, probably the senior house master, somebody from your junior secondary school, and then somebody from your community. So character, whatever you do now, matters, okay? If I had not been disciplined here, do you think senior house master would write something about me? And we've seen situations where people will get into the military academy or the training institution. During training, just about commissioning, they are withdrawn because the character check turned out to be negative. So whatever you do now matters. What are the benefits when you join the Ghana Armed Forces? I think I'll just do that and then finish. You have the opportunity for further education. Regardless, whichever field you are, the Armed Forces grant you the opportunity to have education. Further, healthcare. You have healthcare for yourself and your family. Housing. At least you have a subsidized barracks accommodation for yourself. Tell me, if you don't like this, what else do you want? Then money. Have you ever seen any soldier going on Aluta that we want increase in our pay or something? Doctors do it. Teachers do it. Have you ever seen soldiers do that before? Have you seen the military does that before? No. We don't do that. Yeah. So join us. Yeah, join us. You get money. Okay? And then also you get opportunity to travel. You get opportunity to travel, you get opportunity to participate in peacekeeping operations. That at least will put some dollars in your pocket. Okay? So for these basic reasons, I would say join the Ghana Armed Forces because our nation needs you. Okay? Our nation needs you, and the Ghana Armed Forces is the only institution that offers you a life of pride, that offers you a life of purpose, and that offers you a life of professional excellence. During the breakout session, I'll be available to answer questions for those who will be interested to join the Ghana Armed Forces. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark Kobina Egan. The next field, business/banking. And we are privileged to have another Mobile 96 who was in Bama Aqua. Just watch the dynamics of what they did when they were in school. He did general science, biology, BSc, chemistry, EMBA, marketing at Eugene. Currently, he is the head of deposit, retail, and business banking at Absa Bank. And he is in the person of Lawson Hapido Kofi Tonye.
Thank you very much. Mfantsipim, Headmaster, all protocol observed. So, in my final year JHS, my life skills teacher, Miss Bray, calls me one time on the corridor and says, you must go to Mfantsipim. Indeed, I didn't know of the school in Mfantsipim. But when she said it, something registered in me. So I researched about Mfantsipim. Finished school, results were good. My parents, my uncles, you must become a doctor. I said, okay. So I chose biology. I was number 2 on the list when I came to check the board. That was my class. Interestingly, life has a way of shaping and bringing us along. In my 3rd year in university, I was like, I'm reading chemistry, but I started asking myself some questions. Is that what I want to do after school? I was sure that was not it, to pass. Then I started reading what my interest really was going into. I've been asked to come and talk about banking, talk about business, but Mfantsipim, sorry to detour. I'd rather want to talk about some 5 questions. 5 questions I want you to note. Write them down and ask yourself. Make sure you answer those questions honestly. And when you do, you will discover yourself. Indeed, we can't pull all the professions here, right? There are no astronauts here. There are no pilots here. There are so many other professions that are not seated here, and we cannot do that. We can't bring all of them to you. But what I seek to do this afternoon with you is to help you discover you, and when you know you will then know where to go. So your 5 questions. Number 1, who are you? Who are you is a question of identity. It's a question that asks, what are your values? What is your personality? What do you believe in? When you answer those questions honestly trust that you would identify who you are. Question number 2, where are you coming from? I was watching Ebusi Opinion the last time on TV, and he spoke about the history of Mfantsipim. Now, every great person must know where he is coming from. You must know your history. For some of us, we try to run away from the history. We try to shy away from it. We play to perform to the applause of everybody. But the reason why you have the history you have is because of a reason, and it's for a purpose. So where are you coming from? What is your history? Number 3, why are you here? Why are you on earth? And that answers the question of purpose. Okay? If you know the reason why God created you to be on planet Earth, and you remember in Genesis, it says that what? Have dominion. Okay? We are supposed to subdue the earth. And so you have that assignment. Yours is to discover why you are here. You can only answer why you are here when you have answered who you are. When you have answered where you are coming from. Number 1, who are you? Identity. Number 2, where are you coming from? History. Number 3, why are you here? Purpose. Number 4 is, what can you do? So in each and every one of us is some ability, some skill that is inherent. It was embedded in you. Before you were formed, I knew you, right? So there is that thing that is in you, that you have strength, you do easily, you get angry when some people do them. What can you do? Potential. So find your potential, and when you have found your potential, you sharpen it. And now the 5th question. The first question speaks to, where are you going? Where are you going is talking about destiny. Destiny is coined from the word destination. As of now, your destination is on Mfantsipim campus. So during this journey at Mfantsipim campus, what are you supposed to do? What are you expected to achieve here? What deposit are you supposed to leave whilst you are here? Or even when you have walked out of here? Destiny. When you have honestly sat down, and you can't answer these questions right here in the moment, but it is a question, or there are questions you have to ask yourself every day. Keep refining, keep retuning, and getting to know you. Gentlemen, 3 statements I'll leave with you. Number 1, stay curious. When you stay curious, it teaches you to discover that which is around you. It teaches you to ask questions, even foolish questions. They are important. But what it does for you is that it helps you to learn and evolve and to become. 2, stay hungry. Yes, not stomach hungry. Stay hungry as in always determined to be better than you. The objective is not to compare to your friend, your brother. It is to compare to you and to become the better version of you the very next day, every other day. Are you becoming better? Stay hungry. And then the 3rd, which I spoke lightly about, is to stay self-aware. Because when you know the man you are building, then you can build what matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Hafedo Kufitoyin. The 4th is an engineer. So He's come to talk about engineering. And he is in the person of, he was at Battlesnake, also a Mobile 96, did general science, maths option, BSc mechanical engineering. Currently, he is a PhD candidate on climate change and sustainable development. A public servant, works at the Energy Commission, Deputy Director in charge of renewable energy. Shall we welcome Mr. Frederick Ken Appiah?
Mfantsipim, headmaster, permits me to stand on existing protocols and address the student. I think during the launch of this 150th anniversary, principle was established that anytime you are speaking, you mention your nickname. That was my class, and they used to call me Bo Paddy. I don't know why. Next time I will explain. I'm speaking on engineering, and engineering is everything around us that makes life easy or comfortable. So just look at anything around you, the buildings, the roads. When you were coming here, you are wearing a very nice slipper. You drove, you came here. Everything is about engineering. So just think about everything that can solve or make life comfortable. That's engineering. All right, so maybe I sit down. I'm done. All right, so let me tell you something about myself. When I was a kid, I was very inquisitive. All right, my father's watches like digital, analog. I would just open it. I just wanted to see why the thing was moving right and down or clockwise. I could just destroy anything, just open a radio, just want to see what is there. And I remember very well, I was born in Sunyani, well, close to the airport. And I remember in the 80s, during the coup d'etat, our former president used to fly planes. So when I was a kid, I wanted to become a pilot. In fact, I believe that everybody here once in a while wanted to become a pilot. How many wanted to become a pilot? Oh, okay. But I really wanted to become a pilot. Some of you, along the line, you wish, it's a dream. You saw a plane and it's nice, a big bird in the sky, so you wanted to become a pilot, and along the line, something would change. But I really wanted to become a pilot. So when I moved to Cape Coast, I had my basic education, class 4, and I asked, when I was moving to secondary school after JHS, I asked, I want to become a pilot, what should I do? They said, oh, okay. You have to do mathematical science. It's okay. All right. And I was staying just behind Mfantsipim School, the Bedingate clinic here. So I wanted to come to Mfantsipim. First choice Mfantsipim, second choice Mfantsipim, third choice Mfantsipim. Now you cannot do that, but at that time I could do that. So I chose Mfantsipim. I wanted to be here. I did mathematical science. After passing through, when I was going to university, I asked again. I asked my parents, I asked many people, I want to become a pilot. What should I do at the university? They said, well, the closest course you can take is mechanical engineering. I was like, okay, then I'll do mechanical engineering. So I chose mechanical engineering. Along the line, even though I was doing mechanical engineering, my mind was on doing pilot. And I realized that there's an age limit, and also funding was an issue. And I said, okay, then let me do aerospace engineer or aeronautical engineer. It's close. It's almost the same field. So I started studying around it, trying to look for opportunities outside, because in Ghana, I didn't know the military was the quickest and the easiest way to become a pilot or get into that. I didn't know. But because, as said by Colonel, everything is in the military. Everything is there. So I didn't know. I applied to Cranfield University. They got me admission, but the funding was an issue. Then I did my master's in mechanical engineering. And one of the courses that we're doing, realized that we're applying aerodynamic principles in the energy systems that we're doing. And that is wind turbine. Wind turbine is like just a gigantic fan, standing fan. All right, fan uses electricity and then it blows, we get air. But wind turbine is a form of a technology, energy technology, that taps or traps the energy from the the energy in the wind, moving wind, and then it turns and it converts to electricity. So it's just an opposite of just a standing fan. And that got me into where I am right now, into the renewable energy space, because solar was attached to it, bioenergy was attached to it. It's a very interesting space, renewable energy. We are talking about natural, non-depleting source of energy that God has given to us and tapping the energy from it. So hydro, one of our largest source of electricity for this country is hydro. It's coming from a renewable energy source. Very soon, this year, Mr. Payne and Headmaster government, we are starting a national program where almost like 500 secondary schools are going to get solar systems. And I made sure that, of course, Mfantsipim was in there. Even if it wasn't in, I have to chip it in. So I'm into this renewable energy field, and you know, engineering is just applying mathematical, physical, and scientific principles to systems in solving problems. As I said, you have to produce energy. There's no engineer who is not a problem-solving person. You see something wrong, you want to solve it. And there are various aspects or branches of engineering. When we go into the breakout, we delve into it. But basically, now there's a blend and there is a specialization. But traditionally, we have 4 or 5. So we have the mechanical. Mechanical engineering is anything that moves, fluid, machines, anything that moves. Just take it as mechanical. So you go to the industry, you see machines moving, parts and so on. Nowadays, because of electronic and digitalization, some of things are just a knob. First, even now, the car, you have to engage the clutch and then gear and then it moves. But now just a knob, you turn it and it engages. So mechanical. And electrical is everything to do with the flow of electrons, electricity. We are talking about power systems. We are even talking about circuits and other related things. Computer engineering is related to it, but computer engineering, we are talking about applying computer science principles in engineering and so on. So there are certain combinations that have come. There are mechatronics that combines mechanical and electronics into the space. So there's electrical, there's also civil. Civil is anything that got to do with construction and the built environment. So this building has been here about 100 years. The cars that we drive, or the bridge, we drive on the roads. So the roads are all civil engineering aspects. So they have to use engineering principle in designing and applying and constructing the road. Other than that, these buildings will not stand here the test of time. Now that climate change is an issue, what it means is that when you are building, you have to consider climate change issues, else you are not doing. And I like our motto, Dream Shekan. Dream Shekan means that every engineer must apply Dream Shekan, because you are building the roads or the dam or the structure for generations to come, 100 years, 150 years. That is what it means by mainstreaming Dream Shekan into our principles. So, and then we have the chemical engineering, using chemical composition processes and so on. What is key is that, for now, I know your mind may be hazy, you may not know exactly what to do, but look at yourself, identify who you are, what interests you. You could use it to define whether you are on the social sciences or the pure physical sciences and so on. What I'll leave with you before we get into the break out sessions is that you have to get the principles or the basics right, and the basics are all taught here. So for engineer, math is key. Your science is key. Now you do all the 4 combinations: chemistry, physics, biology, and mathematics. But mathematics is key, science is key. And then the principles being taught. The principles being taught, because you are going to apply it. The third one is ethics. There are certain ethics you see buildings within a year, it collapses. No, they didn't apply engineering ethics. And the ethics as the things that our teachers teach us here. The hard work, the teamwork, the kind of integrity you need to develop yourself, your communication, other things that you are learning from other colleagues and other environment, which may not be purely engineering. And also the character of solving problems. My heart beats when there is something which is collapsing or falling and somebody will just pass, or there is something which is not right and you just pass by. It is not. Engineers, you are solving problems. So you see a problem, the first thing is that, how can I solve it? What kind of principle can I use to solve it, and so on. Let's get into the breakout sessions and we'll talk more about that. God bless us all. Thank you.
This is the Joy News
Thank you, Engineer.
2026, celebrating those who are changing lives, shaping futures, and building hope. From Bimbila in the northern region, Faith Jakbasu is transforming classrooms through innovation, inclusive learning, and life-changing initiatives for students, teachers, and vulnerable communities. From a flower.
He also did general science, maths, BSc Computer Science, MBA, ICT Project Management. He's the head of infrastructure services, and I know he teaches at GIMPA. And he's the person of Frederick Opoku Asare.
Thank you very much. Ebuchapenyi and Headmaster, I will stand on the existing protocols and proceed. And I'm particularly happy to see Ebuchapenyi here as he is in the space, and what we are coming to discuss is he's a living witness to it. Boys, good morning once again. We are talking about technology. When we started, we saw drone, cameras, everything. I'm sure what we are doing now is live. And we are seeing it. It is powered by technology. Technology is all around us. When you go to the hospitals, doctors use AI to analyze your issues. You use computer image robots to even scan and then interpret scan reports. In agric, technology is used. If you go into banking, it's technology. So you see that technology is, I can go on and on and on and on. Technology is everything. Every sector is digital. Every sector around us is digital. So the knowledge of technology is not an option. It's mandatory. But then you decide which side of the divide you want to be. Are you going to be a user, or are you going to be an enabler? Now, when we talk of technology, technology has come through for us in several ways. Remember when COVID struck? It was shut down. But what saved us? Technology. Zoom meetings, working from home, Google Class, online schooling. Everything shifted from in-person to remote. We could order food, we pay remotely. That is all powered by technology. What is even happening now? Iran-Israel war. You will see that Kenneth will bear me out. They are yet to send people on ground. It is drones doing the job. We have interceptors which are tech-powered. Even beside the war, there is cyber war that happens, that opponents are attacking the systems of the other nations, and then vice versa, also putting defense systems. So technology is all around us. And so when you talk of IT, IT is not a career. IT is an ecosystem. IT is a world on its own. There are several careers in there. So IT is basically using computers with software, digital systems to solve problems. All right? Now, using that, what you do is you build, you manage, okay, you design, you build, you manage. So in terms of career, if you are interested in building, using your hands, doing the physical things, you would want to be interested in infrastructure and networking, and then hardware. Now, when you have the IT hardware, it works with software. So people create the language. When we say software, it's just the language and instructions that are created and put on the computers to make them function. So you have software developers. Within the software developer space, there's so many specialization in there. We will take them, and they are actually careers on their own. Now, you have a system, you've had the hardware, you have the software that's powering it. You can't just leave it open. You have to secure it. Just as building a house or building a company, you have to put gates, burglar-proof, everything. So cybersecurity takes care of that space. That is another sector of career and also has specializations in there. Now, as we use computers, we generate so much data. And the data is very, very valuable. So what do we do with this data? We collect the data, you save it. So if you go to Facebook, anything, you are fetching data. That is all. So we generate the data, but the data has to be properly stored, managed, transformed to become useful. So if you are interested in numbers, the data that has been generated, that space has to do with data scientists. So data scientists that see to that. Now, beyond the data scientists, you have operations and maintenance. You have to maintain the systems. There will be bugs that you have to fix. There will be updates that you have to do. It is not all technical. You can go into management, project management, operations management. That's where you have IT managers, project managers, program managers. You have designers who are architects. So the careers within the space are several. It depends on your interest and where you want to, what you want to pursue. You can even be a lawyer and specialize in IT solutions and be able to generate applications, several applications, and our mobile applications, our laptop applications, and all that. Now, you can even go into cloud, because it's not everything that we use that is local. When we say cloud, it's just like somebody gets over the internet, but then there's a physical location. So for instance, TikTok does a lot of data, but TikTok doesn't have all the servers and the database to keep everything, every asset of theirs. TikTok uses Amazon web. That is, they house the data, they give them the servers that they work with. So you have engineers or a professional area that deals with cloud computing. That is also a career area that one can look at. You can go into marketing, actually, IT marketing. You can go into graphic design, which is UI, UX. That is, for websites to be created, now we need the artistic, people with artistic skills to do that. That is a specialization. So IT space is broad, and there are several career options that you can look at. The money in IT is good. IT pays well. The Bushapeni can bear me out. IT professionals are within the top 5 well paid, locally and globally. And even currently, there's a trend that is ongoing in Africa and Ghana. There is demand for skill sets from Africa to work in Europe and America. And I know young people who are developers or cloud engineers that are earning between $2,000 and $6,000, staying in their parents' home, not pay any bill, not drive anywhere, and they are making these money. So money-wise, yes, there are a lot of opportunities. Now, how do we get in there? From here, university, that's one option. almost every university offers a version of computer or IT course. So you have computer science, computer software development, management information systems, IT. They have all the names. What this does is it gives you the foundation. It gives you the foundation and then the theory behind the ecosystem. And when you go further, then you specialize. Your second option is to research and do certifications. And those certifications are accepted globally. So if you have, let's say, an Amazon Web Service Solution Architect certification, it's a bit difficult, by the way. You need to do a lot of learning. But what matters most is your interest. Once you have interest, it becomes easy. So you do the certification. There are a lot of people in the space without a formal degree, but with certification, they are able to excel in a space. Also, you can do self-learning. There are a lot of resources online. You can even use Google, and you get a lot of information. YouTube, there are many videos. You can self-train. You guys are the luckiest when it comes to learning. Your time, learning has become so easy. AI is something that you need to have knowledge on. From today, everybody should know at least one AI tool. I am not saying put your assignment in, copy and paste it. No, that is not what you do. AI can teach you how to use AI. Is that not beautiful? That you go into any AI, put a prompt, ChatGPT, show me how to effectively use you. And it will give you proper lesson and step-by-step procedure that you use to be able to master the tool. So let's not wait or let's not sit, because as I said from the beginning, the user end or an enabler end, you need to have the knowledge in technology. Now, aside from that, having a career, if you have any idea, this is the time to start developing it. Abusuapanyi and Co saw the light years back, started developing ideas, and now Abusuapanyi's firm is one of the big IT firms in Ghana. TikTok, how did he start? A small idea. Uber, how did he start? A small idea. Arguably, the biggest transport institution without a fleet. It's just an application, just a software. They are fixing a huge problem. Facebook is just an idea. So start thinking of whatever idea you have that will help you solve problems. Start thinking about it, and then be developing yourself to become an entrepreneur. All right, there are several successful IT firms in Ghana. ZP, you can mention some of them. ZP, Haptel, Mfarma, several of them. Not only technology, different space. We have SoftTribe, which is a mobile owned by the late Henry. What's the name again? Henry Hersey. Thank you. So SoftTribe has been existing since 1990. The last and the motivating example I want to give you is Abusuapanyi's company, the Margins Group. He established that. Do you know that it's his margin that is the technical partner for the Ghana identification system? It has been developed, and that is what has been running. They've successfully deployed it. And to add icing to the cake, they are now even exporting the knowledge elsewhere. That Gambia identification systems, I read on it that they won a contract to deliver that at the start of this year. Should we give it up to Abusuapanyi? Congratulations, Abusuapanyi. So, the best time was yesterday to have started something in IT, but your next opportunity is now. We will break out and dive deeper because there are so many exciting sides of technology that you need to be exposed to. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Frederick Upuku Asari. Next is law. We have our brother who was at Battlesnake House, a Mobile 96. He studied PA, GDE in University of Education, Winneba. Masters in Human Resource Development, Bachelor of Law, that is LLB. Professional law course at Ghana School of Law, Masters of Law, Human Rights, University of Ghana. He is the headmaster of SAMU SHS. He is a barrister and a solicitor of the Supreme Court as well. And he is the person of Winston Kevin Mills Lamptey, a lawyer.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Our revered Ebusiapeni and headmaster, let me hasten to associate myself quickly with the protocols as established before. I'm also here to speak to you gentlemen, our dear students. Let me be quick enough to also rectify this situation that has been created. I think my MC didn't go through the whole thing. First of all, I am representing the discipline of law, but I happen to be more of a teacher and a mathematician than the lawyer that you have just presented me as. But let me say that I got called to the bar in October 2025, that is a few months ago. And though I had worked so hard to get to that point, I had spent the better part of my life doing mathematics and teaching same. So without wasting too much time, let me try to put my record right. I was also here as a student back then and belonged to the 1996 batch of graduates. Whilst I was here, I rose to become the entertainment prefect of the school. Yes, NTP, but in a different style. At the time, the then senior housemaster wanted to make some changes to the entertainment as it existed in the school. So, me being a co-entertainment prefect together with somebody like our dear Kofi Dia Anto of blessed memory. Kofi Dia Anto is Koda. He is known nationwide as Koda. Unfortunately, we have lost him. And if I had the permission of Ebusiapeni and the headmaster, I would have respectfully called on all of us to rise up just to observe a minute of silence in his honor. Mr. Ebusiapeni, do I have that permission? Shall we please rise? A minute of silence in honor of Kofi Dia Anto, my co-entertainment prefect in 1996. May the soul of Kofi and other faithfully departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Shall we please be seated? So, I also came in here in 1994 as a Form 1 student, and like I said, graduated in 1996. Here, I was a technical student. I think that's a huge irony. I was a technical student and belonged to the T2 group. The T1 group at the time had the applied electricity people or students, and we belonged to the metalwork group. In fact, we were filing at the technical block every now and then. And our science mates used to make a lot of fun of us. But I belong to the T2 group, and we were aspiring to become architects. I mean, that is the most significant discipline that you can look up to at the time, coming from the technical drawing perspective. Unfortunately, something happened here after we had written then SSC. It turned out that the subject combinations that Mfantsipim offered us, and I'm being daring on this one because I know it is not the best of the stories, but it is good for us to also hear this to protect us or guide us going forward. It turned out that the technical combination that we had was with metalwork. Meanwhile, our biggest aspiration, which was architecture and building technology and those other related fields, were calling for woodwork, technical drawing, elective math, and woodwork, not technical drawing, elective math, and metalwork. So that sort of shattered our dreams. The few of us who had done so well at the time, who were hoping to gain admission into the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology at the time, were all disappointed. In fact, this threatened to take away our love of Mfantsipim from us. But by the grace of God, we were able to reorganize ourselves. I went back to reorganize the subject, and then finally got myself into physics, chemistry, and maths as a private student. And that took me to the University of Cape Coast to read mathematics and statistics. So that dream of being an architect had suddenly disappeared. And I'm narrating this story because it's important. Many of us have come here with dreams. But just as I suffered, it is possible that you could have yourselves go through the same things, and if care is not taken, you would give up in life. I never gave up. I had to study physics, chemistry, and maths as a private student, and finally got myself into mathematics and statistics at UCC, BSc. Later, I did a PGD so that I could become a teacher and teach. But I was in here in 2006 to do my national service. That was when the love of Mfantsipim, or for Mfantsipim, came back. But in order not to bore you with a long story, let me zoom in straight into why I am here. I am here to speak for those of us representing the discipline of law. Law in this country today is something that has become so important. All the speakers who have spoken in the last few minutes, or almost an hour now, they tend to say that their disciplines are better. But you and I know, together with them, they know that the law is the learned profession. The law is the what? The learned profession. They know it. Our former Chief Justice, her leadership, Gloria Kufu, said that not too long ago. And the whole country went applauding her. Because everybody knows it. Even at the law school, you find these same, big men, the military officers, the engineers and others, all of them still in the law class. What are they looking for from that place? We know that the law class or the law profession offers that prestige. It comes with that flamboyance. Every young person is aspiring to become a somebody in future. Every gentleman from Mfantsipim, I dare say, qualifies enough to be a lawyer one day. Because here in Mfantsipim, we have the galaxy of champions from the various places. When we used to be here, it was easy for one to think that he was an underdog. But that wasn't the case. We're all above average. The only reason was that we had come from different places as the best candidates from those places, and we had all gathered here. So if you are here today, and you are not doing as well as you used to do when you were at your JHS school, don't be worried. You are still a champion. Very soon when you exit from here, you will be able to exhibit to the larger world what you actually are made of. So keep it going. Let's come back to law. So after I had become a teacher, I had risen to the rank of headmaster and all of that, the yearning for law was still in there. So I started looking for ways to achieve that. let me say that to become a lawyer in this country today, you need 2 steps. You need to go through the preliminary phase and then the professional phase. The preliminary phase has to do with the Bachelor of Law degree. We call it the Legum Bachelarius, the LLB. LLB is a Latin abbreviation for Legum Bachelarius. Law has a lot to do with Latin, so spare me or forgive me if I'm churning out a lot of Latin jargons. But LLB is your first step, which is the law degree you get after attending a university to study law at the law faculty. It is done or it is acquired within the space of 4 years. So first degree of law, Legum Bachelarius, is what you need. When you have obtained that, then you proceed to write the Ghana School of Law entrance exams, and that takes you into the Ghana School of Law to read the professional law course. Now, it is only when you have read the professional law course that you qualify to become a lawyer. Because after reading the professional law course, you would write what you call the bar exams, the national bar exams. When you have written the bar exams and you have passed, then the General Legal Council of Ghana will call you to the bar to become a lawyer. When we say calling somebody being called to the bar, you are simply talking about a history. In England, when the law profession started, all those who had come to the law courts, the courtroom, to defend their client, to represent their client, had a special place where they sat. And there was a bar that had been used to separate them from the gallery. And so from that point onwards, all lawyers being called, or lawyers joining the profession, are said to be having a situation where they are being called to the bar. I think I should put it that way. So once you get called to the bar, what are the opportunities? If you get called to the bar, we are talking about litigation, which is the main thing everybody sees, the courtroom stuff. Lawyers represent their clients in the courtroom. But lawyers also do outside courtroom work. Lawyers guide their clients to get into contracts and other things. We draft wills for people and do other things. Lawyers also can go into academia. My friend a while ago mentioned that academia is not just teaching and learning, but also research. All of those things exist also for lawyers. So that is also part of the things you can do. You can also do corporate work. Corporate work simply meaning that you don't practice necessarily going to the courtroom every day and every now and then, but you gain employment, if you like, with an institution, like we have with SNIT, we have with Bank of Ghana. Any other institution could recruit you as a legal person. And when you join them, we say you are doing corporate work. Then the last, but not the least, is the fact that as a lawyer, you could also do what we call public service. Public service here, you can join the Attorney General's office or the Legal Aid Board and then do public service. Whenever you do public service or you do some legal work without taking pay, we say you are doing pro bono work. You are doing pro bono work. But not ladies and gentlemen, how did I miss this? Gentlemen, I've been speaking to my students for so long and they have ladies and gentlemen as well. Forgive me. But gentlemen, the issue here is that many people think to become a lawyer, one needs to be so brilliant. Yes, it's important. But let me say that being brilliant alone is not enough to make you qualify to become a lawyer or for you to become a successful lawyer. No. You can be an average student, but being consistent at doing the little things right can result in you being called to the bar and you becoming a successful lawyer at the end. It is better to be consistent than to be to achieving, all the goals that you need to achieve. Having said that, let me say that as part of the story that I told you, you would notice that we did not stop. I did not stop. Though there were difficulties, I just did not stop. I kept moving. So it's the same thing. I know a lot of you are going through a lot of situations. You are beginning to think of your courses again. Wherever you are at this point, you try to complete it and completing it well. Complete whichever division or department you are in or the course you are in at this point, complete it well. Because whatever it is, there is also the secondary part of entry. The first one is what you are doing now. After SHS, you get enrolled into the law faculty, and then you read the LLB, and then later go to the law school and do all of that. But there's a secondary part of entry, which is that you can do any other thing as a first degree at the university, and then later on come back to do the LLB. So you could have a situation where somebody reads medicine and later decides to become a lawyer. That person doesn't have to do the 4-year course. That person will simply do a 3-year course because that person already has some degrees. So you do a 3-year course to get an LLB, and then you go through the 1 year. Gentlemen, let me finalize this properly and firm things up in your minds. I know we'll have the breakout session. At this point in this country today, what I went through to become a lawyer is no longer what you would need to go through to become a lawyer. In the country today, there has been some reforms made to the Legal Education Act. And as it stands today, if you want to become a lawyer, you would do your 4-year Bachelor of Laws, and after that, you would continue in that same university where you did the Bachelor of Laws and do your professional course there. Unlike in our days where we did the Bachelor of Laws in a university and then went to the Ghana School of Law, the professional course. Now in this country, starting from next year, and I'm addressing you that way because you are the future leaders. If you decide to do law and you get enrolled into the University of Cape Coast or the University of Ghana Faculty of Law, what would happen is that you would do your 4-year course there. That is where you do the faculty work. We call it the substantive law. And then when you are done, you do 1 more year there of the professional course. I know time is fast spent, and my colleagues are waiting to come in. But let me wrap up and say that between the 2 stages, each one is important. Indeed, the second one is as important as the first one. When you have done your substantive law at the faculty level, then you proceed to the 5th year to read your professional level. What is the difference between the 2? The difference is simple. The first one, you are doing what you call principles. And then by the 2nd level, the professional area, you do what you call procedure. So substantive law with principles and procedural law at the professional level. Either of the cases may work for you, because in some of the cases you could finish the first part and then go and do the second part outside the country. By the Legal Education Amendment Bill, it is still possible for you to go and do the second part outside the country. When we meet in caucus after the breakout session, I know I'll be able to explain this better. Forgive me for the rush because I had a lot to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Winston. And our last mentor, medicine. The common, or what you all know as doctor. He was in Freeman Agri. He did general science with biology, BSc, medical science. I think when it comes here, we'll mention his specialty. And he's the person of Dr. Gideon Yosin, MOBA 2011. Thank you.
Mfantsipim and my seniors, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to stand in front of the students today and speak to them concerning my profession. So for me, if we talk about somebody who has come home, whenever he comes to the Kwabuche Hill, then I believe I'm the person. Because I started from Mfantsipim Basic School, the kindergarten. And, and I spent almost 15 to 20 years of my life on this hill before I made it to the university and went to Kolebu. So, yeah, I've really spent all my life here. I remember when I was in JHS, one of my teachers, Mr. Boyton, he always said, Mfantsipim is Canaan. So if you are in the JHS and you don't study hard, you always pass here, you see the school, but you will not make it here. Well, by God's grace, I made it here. We were the first group to go through the 4-year program. So instead of 2010, we finished in 2011. Okay, so well, I guess I'll just go straight to talk about the profession now. So yes, I'm a medical doctor. Currently, I'm an ophthalmologist at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. So I've gone further to specialize. I became a specialist just last year, 2025 September. So I guess the question is, what is the work of a medical doctor, which most of us, well, have an idea of, but today I'll probably change it slightly. So a medical doctor is actually somebody who listens to people's problems and helps them to solve them. That's basically the job. So you are in your consulting room, people come, they can tell you any problem at all. It might not even be a disease. It's probably marriage matters or whatever. You are obligated to help them to solve it. So maybe a couple comes, they have a child who has sickle cell disease. Yes, that's the child they brought. But then, as you question them, it may come up that they end up spending all their time taking care of the child, and it is causing financial crisis. You have to find a way to help them with that also. So it's basically that's it. You help people solve their problems. Yes. And the next thing probably will be how you get into the profession. Since I'm speaking to SHS students, we will start from there. So for me, I came to this like to the SHS in 2007, did general science with biology. So after the 4 years, you write the exam, the WASI, everything. For medicine, the universities tend to look out for some particular subjects, which if you have an A or something in them, will give you an edge. So maybe they are all picking, they want to pick 06 people, but they will look at a particular subject that they had A in. And for the elective, some of the subjects they favor tend to be biology first, then chemistry, then they decide between physics and E-maths. Like that was our time, so that we, and for the core subjects, they tend to favor the core mathematics, the English, the integrated science before they go and consider just studies. So basically, to get into the medicine program, so currently there's only one private medical school in Ghana, and all the others are government. So, and the most popular ones are KNUST, Konfanoche, and then Kolebu, UG, University of Ghana. So you get the grade for, I'll go to the Kolebu one because that's where I went. And I'm very familiar with it. I know about the KNUST one too, but I'll go to the Kolebu one because that's a bit more complicated than the KNUST one. Yeah, so you get the grades. Maybe you all got 06. But as I said, depending on the subjects that you got the A's in, they will bring out a list of people who they are calling for an interview. So for Kwelebu, the list will come out, but before the interview, they will write an exam. See, and then they do the interview. And based on those, the results that come out, they use it to pick their students. For Konfuanochi, they tend to select the people straight away and then do an interview. Some people claim the interview is a formality, but never take any chances. So that is for that part. That's basically the direct path into medicine. But even if you don't make it through the direct path, you shouldn't give up. I know some people have said it in their hearts that no matter what, it's medicine that they will do, regardless, do or die. So as I said, even if you don't make it through the direct path, there's no need to worry. Most of the universities have started doing something called graduate entry medical program, where you can go and do a first degree in something else, which is science related, and then come afterwards and apply to do medicine as a postgraduate. So that is the other part. Yeah, so basically, that is in a nutshell how to get into medical school, and during the breakout sessions, we'll go into details. Now, after I get into the program, what happens in medical school itself is also another story, and that will be long, so that we'll talk about it during the breakout session. So after the 6 years, you are a fully qualified medical doctor. Then, we know that in Ghana, everybody does national service, right? So we have to do something like national service, where for medical doctors, it's called housemanship or house job. So we have to do 4 rotations in 4 different medical specialties in any hospital, but preferably a teaching hospital. Yes, so that you understudy your seniors. Yes, and another thing is that medicine is basically an apprenticeship. Those who have gone ahead of you, your seniors, they teach you small, like a child. They show you today how to do this, the next day how to do that, the next day how to do it, and then with time, you learn just like a tailor, a carpenter, a mechanic, how they also study. That's basically how it is. So we learn from our seniors. So we are also encouraged to respect our seniors in the profession. Yeah, so that goes for the house job. After the house job, if you satisfied, so during the house job, you have trainers and people who are supervising you. If you satisfied them, you didn't break any rules, you weren't disrespectful, you respected your seniors, you were going to work, early as expected, everything they told you to do, you did it. There's something called a logbook, which you'll be filling. So they sign it for you, then you send it to the Medical and Dental Council. Then they register you, they give you a permanent license. A permanent license to practice in Ghana. During the house job there, you are considered as somebody who is working under somebody's permanent license, basically your boss. Yeah, but when you become a medical officer, then it is your own license that you are using to work. So in that case, whenever you commit any infractions or there's any case of medical negligence or something, you are the one that they will come after. They won't ask your boss. Okay, so after becoming a medical officer, you can decide to be a medical officer for the rest of your life, become a general practitioner. But currently, the country is moving away from that. They've realized that subspecialties and specialties give better results in terms of taking care of patients, and also it brings in more money into the country, basically. So there are training bodies like the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, West African College of Surgeons, West African College of Physicians. Yeah, so basically a Ghana college and a West African college where they train specialists. So if you become a medical officer, you work for a few years to get some experience, know your way around. Then you can apply for postgraduate studies with any of those training institutions. And of course, you have to choose a specialty. Once again, choosing a specialty is also another junction of decisions. You don't have to bother with that now because you are thinking about entering the medical school instead. Yes, but that is also another decision to make. So when you become a specialist, there are many specialties